MGB प्रोग्राम में बहुत टाइमली चेक होके कॉपीज मिल जाती थी और एक डायरेक्शन मिल जाता था, तो उससे बहुत हेल्प हुई।
I have secured All India Rank 192 in UPSC CSE 2023 and this was my first attempt.
First major benefit of such a test series is that you have a schedule in hand.
ForumIAS के MGP प्रोग्राम के बारे में काफ़ी चीज़ें अच्छी लगी।
Student of MGP, current affairs program.
Means guidance program at ForumIAS.
तो ये सब बहुत ज़्यादा beneficial था।
The time taken to evaluate the copies is relatively less.
Yes, good morning class. So what were we discussing in the last class? We were discussing integrity. Yes. So we thought about there should be consistency in thought, speech and action. So that is, some sweets are regularly brought by students. तो सुमेध हैज़ क्लियर्ड फॉर अ सर्विस एंड तो मैंने सोचा सिर्फ मेरा शुगर क्यों बढ़े, सो ऑलराइट, सो जस्ट डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड इन द क्लास जो भी है, वॉट एवर इज देयर, इन शॉर्ट फिनिश इट अप एनीवे. सो यस, वी आर डिस्कसिंग अबाउट इंटीग्रिटी. लेट अस टेक अदर वैल्यूज. Have we done tolerance? No. See, tolerance. Tolerance is a key value in our society. It is not one of the principles of standard life as proposed by the Nolan Commission, but this is again a value that is central to our society. We have discussed earlier also that tolerance is, it is said that tolerance is in the DNA of Indian society. We say that there have been good outcomes of it and bad outcomes of it. Isn't it? We say that this is also the reason behind the chalta hai attitude in India. Right? This is also the problem behind chalta hai attitude. Ye bhi theek hai, wo bhi theek hai. General. So what is tolerance in one line? Tolerance, if you see, it is the bearing, write it down. It is the bearing, it is bearing the presence, bearing with the presence. Bearing with the presence of ideas, opinions, activities, bearing with the presence of ideas, opinions, activities, practices, practices, or persons that one may dislike, or that one may not have liking for. It is the bearing. So what do? You tolerate it, right? So there are certain ideas, certain opinions, or certain activities, certain practices that are being conducted in your presence. And if you bear it, then you would tolerate it, isn't it? So that is, in basic terms, that is what is tolerance. It is also enduring with the diversity around us. It is enduring with the diversity around us. See, Indian society always was very diverse. So therefore, if you see, there has been a natural, organic development of tolerance over the centuries. Indian society has always been very diverse. It has not been a homogeneous society. So that is why there is over a period of hundreds of years, there has been a natural tendency to become tolerant to diversity around us. Some of you may be very religious people, and you will be often be in not be very happy with a situation where lot of religious festivals are being celebrated. Especially you have an exam, you are not religious, but somebody is playing religious songs on the loudspeaker. You may not be very happy with it, isn't it? Some of you, if you are very religious and then you see that some things are happening which are against your religious sentiments, you may not be happy with it. But then it is the idea or the quality of tolerance that ensures that you bear with the different practices, different persons around it. It is a part of Indian ethos. We say that tolerance is a part of Indian ethos. Why do we say this? It is reflected in the Vedic thought of Sarva Dharma, Sambhava. It is in Ashoka's Dhabba. In Akbar's Din-e-Ilahi. He founded a very a very tolerant religion, Din-e-Ilahi. It is also in Jainism's Anekantvad. We have discussed this earlier. We say that reality can be many facets to reality exist. Therefore, if somebody says that I am the only one who knows the ultimate reality, then we have to accept that you also know partial reality. The minute we are willing to accept that our God is not the only God, there could be other gods equally lovable, equally powerful, equally sacrosanct, then we become more tolerant. I gave the example of the 6 blind men and the elephant, where they perceive the elephant to be as per what they touched. The one who touched the pillar said the elephant, leg said the elephant is like a pillar. Somebody felt the elephant is like a rope. Somebody felt the elephant is like a wall. Elephant is not very different from it. But elephant is also none of these individually. The elephant is the sum total of all of this. Isn't it? So therefore, Jainism, Anekantvad, it is a part of Indian ethos. We say that. And it is a precondition. Tolerance is a precondition for service attitude. Tolerance is a precondition for service attitude. Tolerance is a precondition for service attitude. If you see these days, there is also the rise of what is called hate crimes. Tolerance is opposed to hatred. It is easy to have hatred. It is very easy to have hatred, isn't it? When we do not like somebody, we do not like their practices, we do not like their activities, right? We do not like their beliefs, you do not like their ideas. Then what is the natural feeling that arises in us? A feeling of hatred arises, isn't it? But hatred that is there at a societal level, hatred can be at an individual level, and hatred can be at a societal level. Hatred can be at an individual level, and it could also occur at a societal level. Hatred at an individual level is a negative sentiment. Again, it is a negative feeling. Hatred is a negative feeling. And much like anger, envy, jealousy, hatred is also one of those feelings like anger, envy, jealousy, which eats one from within. Eats one from within. And it clouds our judgment. We cannot cloud our judgment. Don Corleone in the famous book Godfather said, never hate your enemies. It clouds your judgment. Even if you have an enemy, one way to make bad decisions is to make it on the basis of your emotions. And you are not controlling your emotions. Your emotions are controlling you. So therefore, it clouds our judgment. But societal hate is something different. Societal hate is again something different. We say that when it exists at a societal level, we say there are 3 kinds of societal hates. 3 kinds of societal hate. One is, the first is inherited societal hate. What is inherited societal hate? The one that we inherit through the generations. The one that pass on through generations. For example, your parents may have told you that these people are very dominant caste, they will do violence. Or certain communities are violent communities, avoid them. Certain communities are untouchable, do not mingle with them. Certain religions are violent, avoid them, right? So therefore, this is inherited hate. That is something that is passed through generations. Who is responsible for it? Family is responsible for it, as well as who is responsible? Society is responsible for it, wider members of society. It is based on social prejudices and stereotypes. It is based on social prejudice and stereotype. Social prejudices and stereotype. Inherited hate. This will be there in the society. It will be against certain social groups based on their what? Caste, based on their religious identity, based on their ethnicity, based on their color of the skin, based on the color of their skin. Inherited. Then the next type we have is organized hate in society. Organized hate. Organized hate is propagated by institutions or organizations. Propagated by institutions. It is a systematic effort. It is a systematic effort. It is a systematic effort. You can think of certain organizations which are promoting hate which promote hate in the society. Can you think of certain such societies? Not in India. Bahar ka bolo. Huh? For example, yes, Khalistan movement, okay. Huh? Yeah, Ku Klux Klan, KKK. Han in Chinese, okay. Or during the Nazi, for all these, the best examples are Nazi Germany. You can think of several organizations. Rwanda, radio. Okay, so that was you would say, systemic effort. So this organized hate will be propagated by organizations and institutions. And what they will do, there will be a systematic effort. A planned, organized effort will be to promote hate. Every event that will happen around you will be narrated in a way. There will be a narrative. They will be based on a narrative. That every event will be linked to promoting hate against community. Every event, anything that is happening in the country or in the world will be pinned on certain social groups. This cannot be done by one individual, but this is done by organizations. A sustained effort is made. A sustained effort is made. For this to happen, inherited hate, if at all some inherited hate is there, not a very strong, but a weak hate. And if there is an organized effort, then it will multiply, isn't it? You already have some seeds of hate sowed in you because of your familial teachings, because of your societal teachings. Society generally has those biases against certain social groups. And if there is an organized effort to perpetrate or perpetuate that hate, then that feeling of hate will also increase multiple times. It becomes, having any sort of inherited hate is a fertile ground for organized hate. And then there is also the third kind of hate. Radicalization by terrorist groups is a very good example. That radicalization, ideological, sometimes what the government says, the problem of urban Naxals. Government reports say that urban Naxals are, what are they trying to spread? Disaffection against the government, against the state. Disaffection against the state, that is also there. There is an element of manipulation. Facts are distorted or presented in a manner such as to build a coherent narrative. Then there is the third type, which is called the absorbed hate. This absorbed hate, this affects the silent but otherwise liberal majority. Silent liberal majority. You may be very liberal. You do not believe in any of these prejudices, in these stereotypes that exist. You have somehow had the basic education, the sensitivity, and the socialization that is necessary to dispel most of these social prejudices. So therefore, you may not have very strong feelings of hate. You are more liberal. For example, there is a sustained effort in the society to portray religious practices of certain groups in a negative manner. There could be a sustained effort in the society to portray religious practices of certain groups in a certain manner. Now, you may be a liberal. You say that it is their matter, we should not get into it. It is their matter, we should not get into it. We should be concerned about how our matters, we are able to reform our community or our social groups. Let us not worry about others. So what will be? You will be what is the silent majority. And you are also liberal. You are otherwise liberal. But what happens is, because of a sustained organized hate, what happens is, hatred percolates slowly. Hatred percolates slowly in the mainstream. This leads to mass radicalization. You think of it. Turkey, such a wonderful nation. Turkey, such a wonderful nation. It is difficult to be an Islamic nation and be very secular. Not an easy task. Right? But thanks to Mustafa Pasha, right, Turkey became a secular nation, way ahead of its time. Right? When the caliphate broke, Turkey became a secular nation. And the only Muslim country to be a part of NATO. Only Islamic country to be a part of NATO. Right? Not an easy task. Islamic nations being secular, not easy. And then decades of the hard work. So therefore, Mustafa, what was the name? Yes, Mustafa Kemal Pasha. So he's very celebrated in Turkey. You'll see his statues everywhere, as celebrated, and in fact more celebrated than even Gandhi in their country. Huh? Ataturk. Yes, Ataturk. So very celebrated, but today if you see the values for which he stood for, even the Turkish society is slowly getting radicalized, even the Turkish society is slowly becoming more radicalized. Religious fanaticism is increasing in Turkish society also, isn't it? So therefore, this is the third kind of hatred in society, that is mass, where hatred percolates slowly in the mainstream, and whole societies, they are likely to be influenced by organized hatred, and it may percolate the mainstream also. All right. Let us take another. So because of this lack of tolerance and hatred, we have another problem. And that is what is called, exhibited as mob lynching. It is a consequence of what? Lack of tolerance in the society and hatred towards certain groups or misinformation also. Several factors are there for mob lynching. See, mob lynching is a violence. Mob lynching refers to the violence committed by a crowd. By a violence committed by a crowd. What will be the nature of this crowd? It will be often leaderless. Violence kari, often leaderless. That is a mob. भीड़ आ रही है, उसमें leader नहीं है. Very big problem. Right? Leaderless crowd will be there. And violence committed by leaderless crowd often intended in the name of what? Doing justice. They always think that what are they doing? They are doing justice in the name of doing justice. leading to killing of people, often ऐसे killing नहीं होगी कि they will after public beating and torture. Often after public beating and torture. This is what is your mob lynching. Why does this happen? Why does mob lynching happen at all? So they want instant justice. Why do they want instant justice? So one reason is they have a lack of faith in first is the police machinery, and the second is overall criminal justice system. They feel that they will not be able to bring the accused to justice. ये न्याय उसके साथ नहीं कर पाएंगे. They will not prosecute the accused. So there is a lack of faith in the administration and criminal justice system that is stemming from there. They are also looking for what? There is a desire for instant gratification. Desire for instant gratification. There is a desire for instant gratification by doing what is called prima facie justice. जो देखकर समझ में आया उस बेसिस पे जस्टिस कर दिया, prima facie. Sometimes what may happen is you may see a certain situation, you may completely misunderstand it. You may see a certain situation. It is very common in the days of social media. Certain situation is shown in social media. So पहले people will go by that video, then larger video will be released from CCTV footage, then people will public opinion will be changed. Now, would you not want that in such a situation? In such a situation, if justice has to be done, then it must be done how? It must be done by the application of a judicial mind with the due passage of time so that we are able to have complete information. I remember when we used to work, then villages generally have a very dominant caste. And then there will be certain castes which will be suppressed. That is the dominant. They are not, again, I'm not saying that they are the forward caste, but they are the dominant caste. They could be the backward caste, they could be the forward castes. They are definitely usually not the depressed classes, but they are dominant caste by way of their number, by way of certain social traits, and also by way of land ownership. They will become the dominant caste. And I do not always assume, for example, the discourse that goes is that Brahmins generally are not, there could be certain social, exploitation by the Brahmin class in the name of doing rituals. But Brahmins generally end up not being the major land-owning communities in villages. It is also said that they got the curse from the goddess, that they will always remain poor. That was said about it. ठीक है, ऐसा कहा जाता है. ठीक है, so there will be certain dominant caste. So what happened is, one thing that you will clearly understand in your rural posting is that sometimes what will happen is that somebody will come to complain about X person. Then what will happen is he will tell you a very unjust story. Ki some people came, they took out the female members in the family and they did public beating and they threatened and they went away. And this man will come on a bike, he will come and meet you, he will fold his hands before you and say that I'm looking for justice. You are new. So therefore what will happen is, your blood will boil immediately and you will start taking, you are a senior official. As a member of a senior bureaucracy, what will happen is, if you make a phone call to the Thana saying that this has happened, do justice to him, what is the problem? The Thana wala will not apply his mind. He will simply do what you have said, sahab ko khush karne ke chakkar mein, just to make you happy. Big challenge. What do you want? You would want justice to be done? And if you are not applying your mind, then what will happen? This person is come with torn shirt, he looks very as if he has been hurt, he will show you some bruise marks on his body. And they'll say that these members of a certain community, they came to our house, they pulled out the women, they beat them, and they threatened us, and they broke the saman of the household goods and everything. and therefore we have come with folded hands to seek justice from you. You are a senior official. You will, if you suddenly call the Thana or any local official, what will be his first thought process? Now that local official or the Thana, his biggest challenge will be absenteeism, which will means that he will not be at the Thana or in the local office. He will want कि जल्दी से ये मामला close हो. This मामला. So therefore, what he will try to do, if you have said something, he will blindly implement it without applying his own mind, and he will say कि sir सबको अंदर कर दिया है. Right? This is the natural. So therefore, as members of the elite Indian administrative service or the Indian police service, what is expected from you? A certain level of maturity is expected from you, that you will not do something in haste. You have, after studying so much, you will be aware that other things can also happen. There could be more to the story. Then what will happen? So similar, I still remember one person came like this. I took him to the district collector. The collector said, "ठीक है." Said, sir, those people have threatened that tonight or in 1 or 2 days they may even kill us. So we want security or some action. Then I asked the district collector, sir, why you are not taking action? He said, "Abhi ruko 2 din." I said, in 2 days, if something will happen, then who will be responsible? He said, no, this is a village. Nothing will happen in 2 days. Right? So that is what I called administrative apathy or bureaucratic apathy at first. That will be your common understanding. Then 3-4 days later, in a meeting he called. So there was a district level meeting. So he asked the Mukhya ki, what is happening in your village? He spilled the beans. Ki, sir, that Mr. Pappu Singh, the name of the person, he has again went to that house of the widow and he has beaten her, the widow and her son, and he's trying to capture the land. So they went to the Thana, nothing happened. But sir, but then in the village, people are afraid that he has already gone and met the district collector, so nobody is taking action against him because he has reached up to the collector, higher authorities. Ab samajh rahe ho khel? So that person is the person who has committed the crime. Then I said, sir, how did you know? He said, no. I don't know anything. I only know one thing, that he has a bike, which is why he came to you within 2 hours of the incident, and the other person does not have a bike. So therefore, the aggrieved person is having less resources. He is having more resources. So he came in a bike in 2 hours. He came to complain to you. After the office opened, he came to complain. रात में crime किया और सुबह complaint लगाने आ गया district collector के पास, and he will tell that I have told everything to DM. So now Thana and everybody will not take any action. They will wait for the instruction from the district magistrate's office. You don't want such headache. You do not want any injustice to be done in your name, right? And there, what will happen? The Thana is afraid, or local officials will be afraid that they are thinking about their position. They are thinking that, yaar, 7 days I have not come to office. Agar मामला खींचेगा, inquiry होगी, then something will come out that the Thana wala is not in the Thana itself. He is not, because it's a rural area. There is no electricity in the Thana or something. Rural infrastructure is poor. So therefore, he is worried about this fact. So therefore, what he will try to do? He will try to hush up the matter. He will try to say, sir, jaisa bola hai aapne kar diya. Big challenges. So it will be your learnings. You will go in rural areas that you don't take immediate action on the basis of emotions. You do your own due diligence. And the collector said, see, Ayush, one thing that is very important is that if you want to keep your job, then never listen to the extreme subordinates. अपनी नौकरी अपने दिमाग से चलानी और बचानी है. If I take action, then there will be counter action. If the Dalit community is being prosecuted, what will happen is, it was a Naxalite infested area. So immediately what will happen is, some Sena will come in their defense. मामला कुछ होगा और मामला कुछ और बन जाएगा, right? What is our policy? समस्या रहने देनी है, मुद्दा नहीं बनाना है. ये सब सीखना नहीं है ज़्यादा, ठीक है? अपना दिमाग लगाना. Problems will be there. There are humans, so there will be problems. But it should not culminate into small district level to national issues by the end of the... Yes. Due diligence is, if you have said, for example, you say that, sir, I need a bank loan, and I am eligible for it. Then I will ask you a few questions on the basis of which you say, for example, sir, I'm a very hardworking aspirant, and I said, okay, so where do you stay? You say, sir, I stay in Rajendra Nagar. So I will do a basic due diligence by asking you some questions which anybody who's living in Rajendra Nagar will be able to answer. But somebody who's faking it will not be able to answer. For example, I ask you that, what is the biggest challenge in Rajendra Nagar? You will say something fancy, that, sir, RWAs are not empowered adequately. But if you ask the one who's living there, then he will say, sir, there is पानी नहीं आता, अभी पानी water crisis is happening. Sir, roads are encroached, pavements are encroached by street hawkers or bookshops. So therefore, people have to walk on the roads, and when walk on the roads, they're continuously honked by vehicles. Sir, then there is a vehicle, there is no parking facility or there is no common grounds for parking. And so therefore, now this person, I already know the answer because I go there. By asking you, I come to know that you have not. So therefore, in due diligence, you will ask very objective questions. Somebody will say that, sir, I'm extremely hardworking. And you'll say, I have given 4 attempts, but I had a very poor luck. I could not clear the prelims. So one due diligence question you will ask is, how much did you get? So he will try to obfuscate by saying, sir, actually in the last attempt, there was COVID. I said, did you get COVID? No, sir, I did not get COVID, but I was very afraid of COVID. So I got 20 marks. Then next attempt, 23 marks. Then you know that you are not putting the basic level effort. At least if you are hardworking, you will be able to get at least 40, 50 marks is the expectation. Right, you will ask a basic question of due diligence. You'll ask, so due diligence is something that will come naturally to you once you are in a public facing role. 3 सवाल पूछोगे. Somebody says कि sir, I was in the, जैसे कई बार whose parents are civil servants, they will ask you कहाँ हो. एक बच्चे के साथ ऐसा ही केस था. मुझे कहाँ हो? तो पापा घर में. So one kid in particular, I remember, he was walking with me. His parents called, Papa, kahan ho? So he says, his parents had told me that you have to be in the house by 9 p.m. मैंने देखा बात करते करते he entered someone's house and inside he closed the door and inside he was talking. Then I said, क्या हुआ? He says, Papa was asking that where are you? So I didn't want to lie to him. So I entered someone's house and said, घर में हूँ. या फिर sometimes due diligence you will do. An official will come to you, he will say, sir, I went to secretariat. But my work was not done. In effect, what he must have done, most of the times he may have went to the state capital, spent time with his family, not gone to the office. He had some work to be done. Koi file hai, the line department asked a question. Let's say education department is there. So there is a district education officer. You told him that why from the department school uniform money has not come. For example, he said, you have instructed that you go and meet the respected official. So when money will be released in government, when there is a utilization certificate, when money is released, when you send suppose that you had sent 100 rupees, then you say that I need 100 rupees more, then the government will ask that send me the utilization certificate of the previous 100 rupees, as in, how did you spend it? Otherwise, what will happen is, you will take 100. When I'll say that why work is not done, you will ask 100 rupees more to do the work. You will ask a person that you ask the deputy collector or the concerned official that you go and meet the appeal to the secretary or the additional secretary or the joint secretary. Or you meet somebody and you get your work done, that sir, the funds are not coming. Now what will happen is that person will go to the state capital, he'll live for 2-3 days, do his personal works and come back. The next meeting, he will avoid you. Then तुमको याद आएगा कि यार इसको तो मैंने इसका school uniform का funds have not been released. So he will say, sir, I went there, but nothing fruitful came out. So you will ask a due diligence question कि अच्छा किससे मिले? तुम फोन उठाओगे और बोलोगे अच्छा बताओ किससे बात किए? Now he will say कि sir मैं तो हमारे रोज this happens every day in government offices. तो बोलो कि बताओ which officer did you meet? कि सर पदाधिकारी से नहीं मिले. I did not meet the officer. I met the बड़ा बाबू. He said कि अभी किसी जिले का नहीं हुआ. अभी no district has been disbursed the funds for school uniform. And then you know that he is again fooling around. He says, Bada Babu ka naam batao. Now he does not know the name of the Bada Babu also. Right? समझ गए? Due diligence में पकड़े जाओगे, तुरंत समझ जाएगा, collected समझ जाएगा कि he is dealing with this kind of problem daily. Right? So he will ask you 3 questions and he will say that this is a bogus. ये bogus तुम नहीं गए थे. Therefore you will always do your due diligence. Some students will come and say, I have written mains, but my problem is prelims. I said, what is the score? They don't know the score. They don't know the reference marks of the score. They'll end up saying marks which are not awarded by the, like they will say, sir, I have gotten very good in paper 3. I say, how much? They'll say 128 marks. Now, highest mark itself is, so you know that he is not, so you don't fight with them. If you fight with them, then they'll give 1-star rating. So what do? You simply say, अच्छा ठीक है, 128 मार्क्स है, कम है थोड़ा, 180 तो कम से कम आना चाहिए. करके तुम निकल जाओगे, तुमको पेपर 3 में उसको पता ही नहीं कि नंबर कितने उठ रहे हैं. Very simple due diligence question कि नंबर कितने उठे. He does not know because he has never seen the mains mark sheet of a candidate. He does not know what is a good marks, what is a bad marks. He will say, sir, very poor marks. I've gotten 118, 110, something like, acha, which paper? Paper 3. And I have to score. So that simple due diligence you can do. You will learn this the minute you are in a public facing government job. जैसे जनता से मिलोगे, है ना? He will tell you something before that you will ask him question, right? All right. So mob lynching will happen in the name of, so there is a lack of faith in the police machinery. All right. There is a lack of fear of law. There is also a lack of fear of law. That they are not afraid of law for several reasons. Why? There is also the mob mentality. What is the mob mentality? First is that the mob is faceless, so therefore no prosecution will happen. The second is the state will not prosecute. State will not. आजकल बहुत सारी ये सब बंद हो गया है. पहले अलग दिक्कतें होती थी. Will not prosecute so many for doing justice to one. Mob lynching often happens because of, mob lynching is also an expression of social frustration. You go to an area where there is absolute poverty. By absolute poverty, I mean there is something known as relative poverty. Relative poverty, you will go all across the country, you will have relative poverty. People will complain about different things that they want. But absolute poverty, you will know it when you see it. It means they will not have a pakka makan. They'll be performing redundant agrarian tasks such as they'll be whole day they'll be busy feeding the cattle. Then from the cattle excreta they'll be making cow dung cakes and using that. What is क्या कहते हैं उसको? दीवार पर लगाते हैं. हाँ, so yes, so they make it and then they'll be using it as a cooking source. So whole day they will be busy. बड़ा busy रहेंगे. All redundant works, but when that is absolute poverty, very primary sort of agriculture, hunting and not hunting, but simply gathering and engaging in agriculture, very primary activity. This, when you say agriculture, it means different things in different parts of the country. Remember that. The word farmer is not a uniform concept. The farmer of Punjab, Haryana is very different from that in, yes, for example, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and very different from what is there in MP, and very different from what is there in Kerala. The farmer is very different. All right. So sometimes it is also an expression of social frustration. You go with a very high fancy bike, 220cc bike, in an area where there is massive unemployment, और वहाँ जाकर you hit somebody, तो वहाँ पर क्या होगा? Mob lynching होनी है. पहले तो तुम्हारी बाइक छीनेंगे. गांव में किसी के पास बाइक नहीं है तुम्हारे पास, और तो भी 220cc वाली बाइक है. कौन सी बाइक चलती है आजकल? 220cc या उससे ज़्यादा? There is a standard high power, what I mean. So therefore, expression of social frustration is also there. Mob lynching in modern times is also happening because of misinformation and or rumor mongering that is happening through social media. Big problem. Just 15-20 years back, it was not a problem. Before the onslaught of WhatsApp, Facebook, not a challenge at all. Why? Mobs will not accumulate like that. There will always be a leader. If a leader, what will happen is one person will disseminate the message, yaar shaam mein 5 baje, we have to assemble and do this mischief. Ya fir this has happened which is affecting our temple, mosque or church or our religion. So you will find a person. What will happen? He will be calling out people from their houses. कि अभी भी नहीं निकले तो कब निकलोगे? So there will be a person. He will be the leader. He will be assembling the mob. And when any such leader will be there, he will have enemies. So his enemy will report to the police that Phalana X person is gathering a mob. So police knows that what to do. Lathi charge other people, arrest him and bring him to Thana. Problem is solved. Now what is the challenge in the age of social media? There is no leader. You will see mob has accumulated. The police SHO with 5 constables is having to deal with 800 people's mob. And what is the problem? There is no leader. So you can't speak to anyone. If there is a leader, even if it is 1 lakh people, there is a leader, then at least you can, with 5 men, you can speak to one person and dissipate the situation. Now, what is the problem? You will ask, ki, leader kaun hai? Then they are looking among each other because they don't know that generally mobs have a leader. Sab jama ho gaye. Kaise to puchoge, achha to bulaya kisne? Then they will say, WhatsApp pe forward aaya tha. Now, this became a huge problem. If you see that social media regulation steps by the government, it is not because there is an effort to silence criticism of the government. Nothing like that. That's a separate political dimension. But there is a very strong administrative dimension. You ask any person who is manning areas where there is a huge population and massive illiteracy, areas where there is huge population and there is either slums or massive population overcrowding and illiteracy. And there you ask any police personnel that what is the big problem, he will say, Sara khel WhatsApp ka hai. Something will spread and people will assemble. Now you can't tell them, you don't, because they don't know each other also. It's not like they're a part of a single community. So it's not like if you can convince one person, the other will also say, ki chalo theek hai, let us go back. You have to convince whom? All of them. Big problem. They are not having a leader. So that is why when the meetings were called, or district magistrates and superintendents of police, they were very clear, ki, sir, the big problem is social media. 1 minute you can send message to forward to 1,000 people. Therefore, government became very strict with social media. Now you cannot send forward to more than how many people? 5. Those rules have been brought exclusively in India at first. But globally, this problem was being faced. Not India alone. Australia, North America, South America, every part of the world, the problem of mob lynching was happening. Why? Because of rumor mongering or fake news through social media. Rumor mongering and fake news through social media continuously spread. The other problem was that you want to understand that how you want to prosecute. So one way you cannot prosecute 200 people. What you can do is you can find out who spread the fake news. So therefore, what is another problem? That we cannot trace the origin. कि पहला message किसने बनाया? Big problem with it. Cannot trace the origin. That is why the government is hell-bent on saying that to WhatsApp that you tell us who is the first creator of the message. Yes. Those all are because of extreme government pressure. On WhatsApp, on Meta, on the Facebook company, extreme government pressure was there in the case of India, that you limit spread of misinformation and disinformation. And actually, just before the COVID crisis, during the COVID crisis also, the government was very alert that lot of faltu khabar will spread through social media. And so therefore, social media was very alert in responding that time. All these changes immediately happened during the COVID and just before the COVID period. Because during the COVID, if misinformation had spread, then social media would not have been without blame. And any misinformation could have led to anything. Somebody would have made a video ki ye sab propaganda of the government hai, you go out, it is a government propaganda, and serious consequences could have happened. Therefore, that's another challenge. Then it thrives on sensational content. These things thrive on sensational content, this is something that you'll study about the ethical issue with. What is the ethical issue with social media? Its business model is currently under challenge. The business model of social media companies is under challenge. Why? Because they thrive on what? Not propagating truth, but anything that is sensational, that becomes viral, that is likely to generate views, that is likely to attract eyeballs. That is the business model. Do you see an inherent ethical problem here? Social media companies are today, the business model of social media company, there are ethical issues. They are not known to spread what is important or true. Isliye you will see that during the COVID crisis, all social media companies, no matter what you search, ऊपर COVID warning वगैरह लगाते थे, to not show to just the people, but to the government that, see, we are concerned about facts being distributed, facts being disseminated during the COVID crisis. If you search Google, ऊपर से पहले ही COVID alert में आ जाता था. If you find something that is negative, उसके नीचे Google will start giving a message that this video has known problems. इसमें दुष्प्रचार फैलाया जा रहा है. Facebook started giving suggestions on videos that this video may be. Was also the rise of what is called certain channels or platforms that started Yes, fact-finding channels. Fact-finding channels, companies, community, community guidelines and PIB. PIB also said that we'll also start a fact finder. There's a problem with the government becoming the fact finder, though. It should always be, the fact finding agency should be independent of the executive. It should be independent of the government. So PIB started with this. Information service के ही बच्चे थे जिन्होंने start किया था, heavily criticized that the government is not good at fact finding. Right? So therefore, these challenges. See, when there is a lot of mob lynching happening and serial, so we say when we end up saying that there is no rule of law, but there is mobocracy. Let us say that mob lynching happens and the government ends up not prosecuting them. In such a case, the government is accused of supporting mobocracy or the rule of the mob instead of the rule of law. That is mobocracy for you. Mobocracy, anarchy simply says that there is no organized government in the country. So therefore, when you have too many mobs taking command of too many things and mobs mobs not being restricted by the state, then we say that there is mobocracy or the rule of the mob, and there is a currently anarchy prevailing in the country. We say that currently there is anarchy prevailing in the country. The rule of law has been subverted by the mobs. If the mobs can commit crimes and get away with it, then we say that there is anarchy in the country. All right. If you see several incidents, can you think of certain incidents spread through social media? Then there is also one more reason. There is also mob lynching is happening because of of a community. So there is also cases where cattle transporters, there have been cases of mob lynching against cattle traders and transporters. These cases are happening. Why are they happening? These cases are happening because of a false sense of vigilantism. Vigilantism. Where people take law in their own hands. Even legitimate cattle trade and legitimate cattle transport becomes challenging. Then several cases have happened. Some cases, if you remember. Yes, Bhima Koregaon 2020, Palghar. Again, child lifting incidents were there, or rumors were there that child lift was done in the area. Then in Bidar, 2018. Where is Bidar? Karnataka. Accenture employee, mob lynched. When there were 5 policemen trying to save these people who were travelers, right? An Accenture engineer. People were asked, the police could not stop the people from lynching them. What is the problem? See, the social media forwards works by way of sensationalization, which means people may not be able to read and write. People may not be able to read and write, but they are able to understand pictures and videos, right? Pictures and videos. Yes, Karbi Anglong. Two people lynched because of news of child lifters. And you can also give several cases of cattle traders or cattle transporters being lynched by the mob. Then, blasphemy cases. Then in Western UP, the first case that had happened was where? Dadri. The case of Dadri mob lynching. where the person was accused of consuming beef and hurting the religious sentiments of people without the establishment of the accusation. Without the establishment of the accusation. Yes, so all these cases, then what is the solution to all these things? What are some solutions or suggestions? Strengthening police administration and criminal justice system. Then enhanced role of both digital surveillance as well as human intelligence. UPSC का question था human intelligence पे when these things were happening, when they started. Human intelligence. Then there is a scope of what is called community policing. Members of the community policing. Then there's a need for specific anti-lynching laws. Specific anti-lynching laws. US has passed it last year, I think. What is the name? Emmett Till, na? Emmett Till. Anti-lynching law. (2022) specific anti-lynching law. Emmett Till anti-lynching law. So Louis Till was again a teenager, African American, as you would expect it, an African American boy who was at the age of 14. He was lynched. So US has a specific law. Then social media accountability. The setting accountability of social media companies, such as appointing a nodal officer or a grievance redressal officer. Then at district level, let's say fake news is being spread. Who do you report to? At district level, there has to be a appointment of a nodal officer who will be looking into spreading of such fake news and hate messages. No, so one way is in the same way as Naxalism can be best fought by incorporating the tribals into the police force or Salvajudum. By community policing entails that members of the community are given certain, or they align closely with the police, and therefore they are given certain responsibilities. So let us say this is a group of people and they are likely to do mob lynching. I appoint 5 of these people as agents of the police. Then I know that at least I can diffuse some values into those 5 people. Now they know that while I'm a part of this community, I am also accountable to the police machinery. So they will start behaving differently. It is the same thing which used to happen in school when among all the mischief mongers, one person was made the class monitor. उसके बाद while he was a part of the class, वो पुर्जे पर नाम तुम्हारा लिखकर टीचर से पिटवाई करा देता था. वो दोस्त था तुम्हारा, लेकिन क्या किया टीचर ने? क्या किया? उसको मॉनिटर बना दिया. टेबल्स टर्न्ड ऑन यू. टाइम पास के बाद उसने भी मस्ती की तुम्हारे साथ, गप सारा मारा, किसी का टिफिन छीन कर खा लिया, नाम लेकिन तुम्हारा डाल दिया. राइट? सो देयरफॉर हाँ, moral policing is, write down one line, moral policing is the phenomenon where individuals or groups try to enforce, individuals or groups try to enforce their moral ideals, their moral ideals, their moral ideals on others with a sense of vigilantism, with a sense of vigilantism, with a sense of vigilantism. Their moral ideals may coincide with what is widely accepted by the society. Their moral ideals may coincide with what is widely accepted belief in the society, but is against what is the widely accepted belief in the society, but is against liberal social values, but is against liberal social values. But it is against liberal social values. Is this clear? So you have a certain ideology, you have a certain moral ideal that this should happen, this should not happen. All right. So therefore you are trying to impose your individual sense of morality, which is also having some social sanction on others. So moral policing will happen when? During 14th Feb, Valentine's Day. Right? Moral policing always happening around, hai na? Some students, they become part of certain organizations just before Valentine's Day. Either get a Valentine or become a part of the group. Right? Is it clear? Community policing, so these people, the ones who are doing moral policing, they are imposing their moral values. Community policing, when the members of the community are entrusted or work closely with the police. When members of the community work closely with the police, community police members are aligned with the police, or they are even given partial police functions also. Partial police functions. You can give example, for example, in Uttarakhand. In Uttarakhand, in remote areas where it is not possible to have a thana everywhere, you will try to do community policing. Then in J&K, then, yes, and in there is always a talk of a scheme. I'm not aware, but yes, for tribal areas there was the creation of Salva Judum. So what had happened is they started with community policing, but they became later full recruits. So in such a situation, what happens is people who are not a part of the official or recruited officially as a part of the armed police force, they may sometimes, for example, may have been given weapons, given the seriousness of the situation. All right, let us take another value. Yes? The code has given certain guidelines. ठीक है, करेंगे उसको. Impartiality. What is impartiality as a value? See, impartiality means even-handedness or fair. Even-handedness or fairness in treatment or in decision making. Even-handedness or fairness in decision making. It means should not show preference. It means impartiality means no preference of one over another except on merit. Impartiality It is an established principle of justice. If justice has to happen, then there must be impartiality. It means not being guided by personal links or personal relations. Not being guided by personal relations. If you are guided by personal relations, then you will not be impartial, isn't it? Not being guided by personal relations, but by objective criteria. Impartiality is needed very much in civil service. Why? Yes, needed in civil service. Because civil service needs to be impartial. Why? Because it is tasked with it is given the important task of resource allocation in the society. Resource allocation in society given to whom? To the civil service. Resource allocation distribution is tasked to civil service. It is needed in civil service because civil service is often entrusted with the task of making public appointments. Making public appointments or government jobs. Then they are also tasked with awarding government contracts. Awarding government contracts. Then public civil servants is also entrusted with further tasks such as making recommendation for awards. Making recommendation for awards. Impartial civil service is also needed. Why? For professional ministerial advice. I've told you few things that professional ministerial advice. ये नहीं कि you are working under two ministers, one of them you like, you will tell him all the good things. The other one you don't like, you don't agree with him. तो उसको ऐसे काम बता दो कि you give him such advice that he is not able to retain his ministership for very long. This can happen. You tell him all the bad decisions to make and tell him that, sir, if you do this, you will become chief minister. You see, he will go. The position of a minister versus civil servant is that, the position of, इसको आगे करेंगे, but do you understand that the minister is always politically insecure? He does not know that which decision he will take that will lead to that will become his nemesis, that will lead to he will lose to his ouster from the government and maybe ouster from the seat of MLA also. One wrong decision you take and then everybody will blame you. That is why everybody, given a choice, ministers get their children married to civil servants because they know that today we are there but tomorrow will not be there. But the civil servant's position is secured throughout the tenure till his retirement. Right? The minister's position, though heightened, but is not secure. Every time you will see when you meet a minister, always worried about their future. That max guarantee they have is for 5 years. After that, they don't know what equations will change. And from being an honorable minister to simple MLA, the power equations with civil servant is very different when you are a minister. As a minister, you are a part of the executive and the civil servant is subordinated to you. As an MLA, in a lot of states in our country, I repeat, in several states in our country, if you are an MLA, don't think that a regular MLA will be able to get an appointment with the district collector. Don't assume that. In many districts, the MLA will not be able to meet a district magistrate. And more so if you are not from the ruling party. It will not be possible. The district magistrate will say, kal aiyega, aaj sahab vyast hain. It is also not desirable because he is a representative of the people. There will be places where the MLA will be made to wait for 4, 5, 6 hours before he can meet a district magistrate. That will happen. That is also because of the political bureaucratic culture that the place has inherited. You think of it where there was, for example, Rajwada system. So the civil servant was very powerful. The civil servant was very powerful. The kings were afraid of the civil servant. Why? Because the civil servant had one major power. In the name of socialism, he could take away land. And you are only a prince. You are a prince or a His Highness only because you have large amounts of land. But under Land Ceiling Act, what will a collector do? He will pass an order and take away all your land. Then you have to go and keep meeting him. So immense power accumulated in the hands of collector because of certain socialist directions that our state took. Right? In the 70s and 80s. Massive powers given to the district collectors. The power to take away lands. So therefore now they are completely, and the judicial process is not that streamlined that you will be able to get justice from the High Court or the Supreme Court immediately. The appellate nature of justice system where cases can be escalated up till the Supreme Court also ensures that if your work is not done by the civil servant, then don't expect that it will be done by the judiciary. Your experience, if with the civil service is bad, then with the judicial administration is a downhill journey. It's a downhill journey. Right, so therefore, big challenge. So now that political culture has built around in certain pockets, certain areas, where the civil servants or the district collectors continue to behave in a similar manner. The colonial hangover continue to behave in a similar manner. Now the ones who are Rajwadas, they realize that there is no future for us if we don't become MLA or something. So they ended up contesting elections and they become MLAs, but the culture or the power equations have somewhat remained the same. Several places this will be the case. All right. So therefore, this is needed in civil service. And from impartiality, we have another thing that flows. You are impartial, nispaksh. You are impartial, you are fair. Flows what is known as non-partisanship. And objectivity, impartiality and objectivity. Objectivity simply means taking decisions on the basis of facts and figures. If you do that, then you will be fair in your decision making. From objectivity, इसको ऐसे बना ही लो. Fact-based decision making is objectivity. Flows from impartiality, flows neutrality. Non-partisanship, impartiality, if you see, it is simply being fairness. Non-partisanship is what you practice. And neutrality is what you get. You practice non-partisanship, therefore you are said to be neutral. You don't practice neutrality. You be neutral. And how will people judge you to be neutral? On the basis of what you practice. right? You cannot practice neutrality. You will say, I'll be non-partisan in my approach. Let's say, for example, there is a certain village that has to be given. One village is to be declared Adarsh Gram. Are you aware there was an Adarsh Gram Yojana of the Prime Minister? So, Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana. So, so now there is the MP, members of both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, they can choose one village and they can make it an Adarsh Gram. So in a lot of cases, what would happen is, they will ask the district collector that which area should be chosen. Sometimes the MPs may not be able to make that. So they may sometimes ask, or forget about this, this is the MP's prerogative, but genuinely the grants would come and they say that we have to build a certain park or a school in the district. Or maybe we can build up to 3 schools. Now as a civil servant, you will have complete objectivity. You will say that what are the 3 bottommost village panchayats in my, or 3 most backward blocks in my district. You will be having that priority. Like, ye sabse backward blocks ye hain, in this let me open the school. But what may happen is that the ruling MLA may come and then he may say that there is 3, at least one you do it in the constituency where I have gotten my people, I have gotten my votes. And okay, you say, okay, fine, one we will do in where you have won. Then the opposition may come, or the most influential, who also was a former MLA, he may come and he say that you should do one in our constituency, right? So therefore, what is expected? You have to be objective. You also have to be impartial. You should not favor one person over another. The person says that you have good relations with this MLA, which is why you are favoring him. So that should not happen. You should practice non-partisanship, which means you are not guided by any party ideology. You are not guided by any, you're not loyal to any political person or a political party. You end up doing the distribution such that one goes to the most backward block and one each to the ruling party MLA and one to the opposition party MLA. So now everybody is satisfied. Do you think it is a good approach? It is a practical approach, and this is what you should end up doing in case you want to achieve outcomes. Why? Because any scheme or anything will not be successful unless you have taken the support of the people. See, one of the things as aspiring civil servants is that a common feeling will be there that as aspiring civil servants, you will always feel that it is the civil service which is non-corrupt and morally upright, and it is the political class which is the corrupt institution and will do anything to meet its objective. But you see, when you will actually be a part of administration, you will realize that the political class is very rational. Sometimes you will have your own disillusionments with the bureaucracy and senior bureaucrats that you will not be able to understand on what rationality they make decisions. A bureaucrat will say nothing and he will do what he has to do. A politician, on the other hand, you will know what is his interest and you will know what is the decision he will make. A politician, on the other hand, will be much more transparent than a civil servant. A civil servant, you will go and meet him, sir, I want this. He will say, theek hai. And then, in the end, when the notification will come, opposite of what he has said will happen. In the interview also, this will happen. You will say, best of luck. Whatever, best of luck, Abhishek. We hope to see you. Something like this, or best of luck, Abhishek. It was wonderful talking to you. तुम्हें लग रहा है इंटरव्यू खराब गया, बड़ा अच्छा रिमार्क दिया, नंबर आ गया 127. Not able to make out what the, but on the other hand, the political class is more forthcoming. Their interests are clearly delineated, and they are not entirely wrong. So in certain states, you will have the political culture where when any infrastructure project is being created, there is the name of the minister and the civil servants, but there is also a culture where the civil servant, senior IS officer's name is also there. As aspiring civil servants, you believe that this is what should happen, and fairly okay, because the gap between the political class and the administrative class reduces at the higher levels or higher echelons of bureaucracy. Why? Because the permanent executive or the civil service works very closely with the political executive, and in essence, the policies that are in place are often framed by the permanent executive with the ideological inputs that is given by the minister. All right, they have the final say. All right, chalo isko karte hain, then we will understand few things. What else? So yes, non-partisanship. What does non-partisanship entail? इसको लेते हैं बाद में, मिनिस्टर सिविल सर्वेंट रिलेशनशिप विल डिस्कस. See, partisanship. So basically, if you see partisan behavior simply means favoring a person, generally a political person or a party. That is a partisan behavior. Favoring a political person or a party. That is partisanship behavior. Non-partisanship, what does it mean? It simply means free from political leaning. He does not have any political leaning. He is a person who is free from any political leaning. किसी तरफ कोई political झुकाव नहीं है. He does not have free from party affiliation. He is free from party affiliation. We say that it is also said to be the quality of being, yes, politically neutral. It is the quality of being politically neutral. Impartiality is a precondition for non-partisan behavior. Impartiality is a precondition. Impartiality is a precondition. Is a precondition for, if you're impartial only then you can be non-partisan. See, there are several ways how civil servants are exhibit partisan behavior. So avenues of partisan behavior, there are several avenues. So basically, Anil Swarup, former coal secretary, in his book, Not Just a Civil Servant, he has talked about 4 kinds of partisan behavior that is shown by the civil servant. One is, the first is joining a political party. This is the first way where a civil servant can be partisan, joining a political party. So if you see this, the second is by not joining but being politically aligned. Not joining but by being politically aligned. Third is by taking voluntary retirement. By taking voluntary retirement and joining political party. By taking voluntary retirement and joining political party. By taking voluntary retirement and joining political party. And last is joining politics after retirement. Last is joining politics after retirement. Without cooling off period. Without cooling off period. Joining political party after retirement. Without a cooling off period. Everybody understands what is a cooling off period? It is assumed that after retirement, if somebody is joining a political party, then there is a perception that goes in the people that the person was aligned to the party even while he was in service. So therefore, it is recommended that there should be a certain duration. There should be a ठीक है, करते हैं. So joining political party, Anil Swarup says that this is illegal. This is illegal. It goes against all India civil services conduct rules and several other conduct rules that exist. It is illegal as per all India services conduct rules and all other rules. This is not a common practice. The second practice becomes very common where they do not officially join a political party, but they remain politically aligned. So this is not illegal. It is not illegal. Not illegal. It is unethical, but it is not illegal, but it is unethical. It is unethical. It is difficult to prove. It is difficult to prove. It is difficult to prove. It goes against the spirit of the conduct rules. It goes against the spirit of the conduct rules. Goes against spirit of the conduct rules. It goes against esprit de corps or spirit of brotherhood. Esprit de corps of civil service. The spirit of brotherhood. There is no visible illegality. There is no visible illegality. Esprit de corps, this means that there is a certain spirit of brotherhood in the civil service. But one of you is politically aligned. Right? One of you is politically aligned, so there is a problem, isn't it? Then it is not visibly illegal, but against bureaucratic ethos. Not visibly illegal, but against bureaucratic ethos. With respect to voluntary retirement and joining party and post-retirement, if you see these two, they look ethical at first. They look ethical at first. But in reality, offer from party comes when services to the political party are rendered while in service. Services to the political party are rendered while in service. All right. Upon investigation, illegality can be proved in their actions and decisions. Upon investigation, illegality can be proved in their actions and decisions before retirement. Before retirement. You can also say the decisions taken immediately before retirement. Decisions taken immediately before retirement are partisan, that is favoring a political party. Decisions taken immediately before retirement are partisan in nature. Are partisan. It erodes public trust. It erodes public trust. It erodes public trust as civil servants should not only be free from party affiliation. It erodes public trust as civil servants should not only be free from party affiliation, but also must be seen to be free, but also must be seen to be free. It goes against the spirit of corps. So think of it that you are all civil servants, you are a bureaucracy, and I am the minister or I am the leader of a political party. So what is expected from the civil service? That there is a common spirit of brotherhood that is there in the civil service. This is the same which you see in films when the whole police thana, they are trying to fight a criminal, and it is expected that all the policemen will contribute equally. But what will happen in the film or in the series? One person will be a mole. वो जाके क्या करेगा? He is already aligned with the criminal or the political person. So it goes against the spirit of brotherhood that is there in the. So therefore, civil service is expected to have a spirit of brotherhood. It should act as a united body. You will see in some states, what will happen is whenever the political class will take a illegal or a unethical action against the civil servant, then what will happen? Civil Servants Association will pass a resolution. But sometimes the chief secretary, if he is not having the spine, CM will call him once, and after that he will simply say that, "Sab log jao." And he will simply say that, "I am not part of this committee." Right? So therefore it will create trouble. Right? What is expected? The civil service must behave at times as a unified body. Isn't it? But when the government, sometimes when the political class, when there is a direct confrontation, for example, it happened in several states in Uttar Pradesh, with whenever civil servants are, it is felt that they have been unethically or illegally been punished by the political class for their narrow interest. The civil service as a body polity has protested against this action of the government. Sometimes it has led to pushback of the government action or the political class's action. The government may have to withdraw certain actions. Right? And sometimes it has backfired when the chief minister is very clear that he has to implement this decision. A few years back, all the district collectors, there was a certain prosecution of an IAS officer in the state of Bihar. All the district collectors, they were protesting. So it was decided that all the IAS officers will protest. So the district magistrates also, for the very first time, it does not happen very commonly in India, that members of the IAS, they protest openly holding placards. It is not allowed also, but they are holding placards. This happened. So what happened is the media reported that IAS officers and even district collectors, they are protesting. This happened. The chief secretary next day sent a letter to collector that by whose permission you left the district and came to the state capital to protest, to express solidarity. तो उस दिन का आपका वेतन जाएगा या नहीं? And you are absent from office without information. तो सारा कुछ dissipate हो गया अगले दिन movement. Right? The civil service is very powerful as long as it is anonymous. It can do anything. Why? Because it is actually running the affairs of the country. As long as it is anonymity is a principle central to civil service. And it is central to the minister-civil servant relationship. Alright, which is why it is always said that anonymity as a principle gives the strength to the civil service. It is able to do everything that it wants without incurring public wrath. Do you see that the public civil service is often insulated from any public opinion, not criticized? In the end, actually, who is doing it? Everything is being done by the civil service. If the drains are not cleaned in Delhi and it is leading to water scarcity, it is not that the political class told the commissioner that don't clean the drains. It is just that the people in administration, they were not able to get it done in the resources or with the n number of tasks that they had. They were not able to think that this problem will happen. They were not expecting that 15% of monsoonal rainfall in Delhi will happen in a single day. And you are otherwise an efficient officer, but you did not think, and therefore you were adequately prepared. Which means that in a regular case, waterlogging will go after 2 hours and you are sorted. And if you have to actually prepare for a disaster, then that would require a lot of budget, for which you may not immediately get an approval. But you are otherwise a efficient officer. But what happened is, your tenure में तुम्हारी किस्मत खराब निकली. 4 साल से सूखा पड़ा था, 1 साल बारिश अच्छी खासी हो गई. And then everybody is saying that you are inefficient. And if you are very active on social media as a MCD commissioner or anything like that, then further you will get lynched. Civil service as a body is very insulated on the principle of anonymity. That was the whole idea. एक table बना लो. Non-partisanship on the left hand side, impartiality on the right. Non-partisanship on the LHS, impartiality on the right hand side. Non-partisanship, it is the lack of affiliation. It is the lack of affiliation or bias. Lack of affiliation or bias for any person, group, ideology or party. Lack of affiliation or bias for any person, group, ideology or party. Next, it is the quality of being neutral. It is the quality of being neutral. Next, it is the value. Non-partisanship is the value foundational to the apolitical character of bureaucracy. Value foundational to the apolitical character of or non-political character of bureaucracy. It is the value foundational to the non-political character of bureaucracy. It is a narrower term. It is a narrower term that concerns political / party affiliation. It is a narrow term that concerns political / party affiliation. It has negative connotation. It has negative connotation. Absence of partisan behavior. It has negative connotation. Absence of partisan behavior. Next, lack of this value or lack of it, lack of non-partisanship amounts to politically committed bureaucracy. Lack of non-partisanship amounts to politically committed bureaucracy. In impartiality, you write, impartiality, it is founded on the principles of justice. Impartiality is founded on the principles of justice. Then again, right hand side only, RHS. Decisions should be made with fairness. Decisions should be made with fairness without favoring anyone. Should be made with fairness without favoring anyone. Next, it is the translation of the constitutional right to equality. It is the decision should be made with fairness without favor to anyone. Next, it is the translation of the constitutional right to equality. It is the translation of the constitutional right to equality and right against discrimination. And right against discrimination. It requires refraining from conduct or behavior. Requires refrain yourself from conduct or behavior that demonstrates implicit or explicit bias. That refrain from conduct or behavior that demonstrates implicit or explicit bias. All people placed similarly must be treated similarly. All people placed similarly must be treated similarly. there is no scope of personal relations. There is no scope of personal relations, family linkages, personal relations, family linkages, individual sympathy, personal relations, family linkages, individual sympathy, in decision making. In decision making. If you see these qualities, they are most important for certain institutions, isn't it? Important for whom? Yes, very important for judiciary, independent judiciary. But again, most important from whom? This, which makes it is very important for sustaining democracy. What are the things that you need for sustaining democracy? Forget the enlightened citizen, that you will not get. Okay, but what else can you get? Two things very important for democracy. 2-3 things. Batao. Yes, strong. Yes, very good. Strong institutions. Two institutions in particular are strong. One is the independent judiciary. Very important for it. It should not be a committed judiciary. And it's also an independent election commission. Very important for, in our constitution or in the Constitutional Assembly debate, Ambedkar called the CAG as the most important officer under the Constitution. But it is actually the Election Commission who should be the most important officer under the Constitution. Because his any alignments of the Election Commission can threaten democracy forever. Right? You are aware that during elections, the whole national Indian polity acts like a unitary system. The states, everybody reports to whom? The Election Commission, who is the supreme powerful person during the election time. It is also important for civil service. All right. Apart from that, you see that all this non-partisan behavior is also important for the speaker. Investigating agencies. See, the correct answer there is when it comes to Enforcement Directorate. Enforcement Directorate is a part of which department? Is a Department of Revenue. Yeah, Finance Department, practically from Department of Revenue. Earlier it was in the, I think, the Department of Economic Affairs. Then it moved to Department of Revenue. So this question is very commonly asked, that is ED biased in its actions? So when it comes to ED, again, I'm not talking about CBI, but when it comes to ED is a department, it is an agency, and it's an agency under the Department of Revenue. What is the target of ED? To increase the revenue of the government and find ways and means to increase the revenue. That is what it as an agency. It will try to see wherever there has been a suppression of revenue, therefore it will get into it. That is what ED's primary function is. So to expect that it will behave in a non-political manner is neither desirable. Yes, what can be said is that it is an agency of the government, and therefore it is an agency that works directly under the government. So therefore its priorities will be determined by whom? By the government of the day. So therefore, if you say that it is not, Election Commission is not a department of the government. So therefore, its expected role is to be independent of the government. But ED in essence is an agency of the government. So therefore, it is not expected to be as independent or as autonomous as Election Commission or as the higher judiciary, because it is in essence is a government agency. What can be said with respect to its partisan behavior is that there is, wherever it has investigated a case, it has investigated a case with complete impartiality. But what can be said is that it has had selective, what is called activism in some cases, and generally it has selective blindness in some cases, which are again decided by the political class. Right? The problem of ED is that it is very alert in some cases, and it will suddenly go slow in cases when it concerns ruling party. So that is a challenge, and that is guided by the political priorities. But yes, to some extent, but once ED is that watchdog that you put after anyone, it will take out something, whether it is against the government itself. If you put it against the government functionary also, it will take out something. So that is, it is a successful as a body. It's simply a professional body. But the priorities will be decided by whom? By the political class. All right. How to ensure some non-partisanship behavior? Some suggestions can we have? Non-partisanship is by enhancing autonomy and independence of civil servants. For example, autonomy and independence of civil servants. For example, promotion and transfers. They could be done through an establishment board or a civil service board. One is fixed tenure. Fixed tenure for civil servants or security of tenure. Then objective and scientific performance appraisal system. Objective and scientific performance appraisal system. You can also talk about 360-degree appraisal system, where the juniors also rate. 360-degree appraisal system. Then whistleblower protection, strong whistleblower protection plus witness protection schemes, etc. Write down a question. ये एक क्वेश्चन था जो मेरा छूट गया था पहले, उसको करते हैं. Not with civil servants, it is a topic from हमारा इमैनुअल का moral philosophy से क्वेश्चन है, उसको लिख लो अभी. Lie is a question. Write down a question. Lie is a form of deception. Write down a question. Lie is a form of deception. झूठ बोलना. Lie is a form of deception. Why is lying wrong? Why is lying wrong? झूठ बोलना. What are the harms of lying? What are the harms of lying? So everybody lies in this class? Some people are saying no, that they have never done. Everybody lies in the class? How happy, how, huh? Everybody? When do you think lying is acceptable? Bolo. When do you, under what circumstances lying is acceptable? When it is? When the end is more. What is a white lie? Where it does not harm. All right. Write down, इसको लिख लो. Lying is a form of deception. Lying is a form of deception where information is communicated. Where information is communicated with intention to mislead. Where information is communicated with intention to mislead. Lying is a form of deception where information is communicated with intention to mislead. And liar knows what he's saying is not true. And liar knows what he's saying is not true. lying is bad because it takes away. What does it take away? One's right to truth. Lying is bad because it takes away one's right to truth. It erodes trust in society. It erodes trust in society. And a truthful society is a desirable thing. And a truthful society is a desirable thing. Next, it goes against Kantian ethics. It goes against Kantian ethics. Man should be a ends but never a means. So it goes against Kantian ethics as it treats those lied to, जिनसे झूठ बोला जा रहा है, as it treats those lied to as a means to achieve a purpose, rather than end in themselves. Those who are lying as a means to achieve a purpose rather than ends in themselves. It takes away other person's right to informed decision making. It takes away other person's right to informed decision making. Lying also cannot be made into a universal principle. Lying also cannot be made into a universal principle. Otherwise, cannot be made into a universal principle. Otherwise, it may lead to breakdown of society. Lying harms both the liar and the one lied to. Lying harms both the liar as well as the one lied to. Next, society is hurt by lying. Society is hurt by lying because it reduces general truthfulness. Is harmed by lying because it reduces general truthfulness, and other people are encouraged to lie. Reduces general level of truthfulness, and other people are encouraged to lie. Over time, lying may become a socially accepted practice. Over time, lying may become a socially accepted practice. Social cohesion will be weakened. Thereby becoming harder. Thereby it may become harder for people. To trust each other. It may become harder for people to trust each other or institutions in the society. Each other or institutions in the society. People lied to suffer. Because in absence of informed choice, people lied to suffer because in absence of informed choice, they end up making a decision because in absence of informed choice, in absence of informed choice, in absence of informed choice, they may end up making a decision, they may end up making a decision they would not have otherwise made. They may end up making a decision they would not have otherwise made. They feel angry. They feel angry because the liar. They feel angry because the liar did not deem them worthy of the truth. They feel angry because the liar did not deem them worthy of the truth. They end up doubting their ability to assess the truth. They end up doubting their ability to assess the truth. End up doubting their ability to assess the truth. Recognize true character of people. Doubting their ability to assess the truth. Recognize true character of people and making decisions. It also makes them revengeful. It also makes them revengeful. Liar is hurt. Liar is hurt because it alters his character. Liar is hurt because it alters his character. His credibility in society is lowered. His credibility in society is lowered. His integrity is compromised. Credibility in society is lowered. His integrity is compromised. He has to remember the lies he has told. He has to remember the lies he has told. And he is always in fear of those he has lied to. And he is always in fear of those he has lied to. Alright? So why is lying bad? You have seen that I have used all the Kantian principles, the universality principle, humanity first principle, man as an end in himself and not as a means to achieve something. We have used all the principles. So therefore, whenever you get to test the ethics of any action, you can always test it from the principles given by Immanuel Kant. Can we make it a universal rule? In every question, try to implement it, Immanuel Kant's position. All right? We'll take neutrality, but very quickly, let us take some other qualities. Selflessness. What is selflessness? Selflessness entails? Yes, putting selflessness means putting others, yes, before oneself. It requires awareness of others around us, followed by awareness, followed by empathy for them. Agar compassion nahi to empathy, followed by an empathy. Difficult to be self. It means putting community before self. Community before family. Can you think of some people? Mother Teresa or Sister Nivedita. During COVID, 100 plus policemen from Delhi police lost their lives serving the people. That is an example of selfless service. 100 plus policemen laid their life doing COVID duties in Delhi police, in Bombay police. Can you tell one martyr at least who died during the operation on Mumbai attacks, 2008 Mumbai attacks? Huh? Tukaram Omble. Tukaram Omble. Yes. And? Alright, so during there have been so many examples of success. People who have laid their lives for the wider social interest, isn't it? What is the challenge in selflessness today? Why it is difficult to inculcate selflessness? One is a lack of good role models. Lack of good role models. Second is rising consumerism. Rising consumerism and materialism in society. So therefore everybody is in pursuit of what? Self-aggrandizement. Self-aggrandizement. Jama kar lo. Self-aggrandizement. Rising consumerism and lack of role good models. There is also challenge of radical pursuit of self-interest. Radical pursuit of self-interest. If you see, in politics, radical pursuit of self-interest sets bad example in society. Isn't it? Radical pursuit of self-interest sets bad example for ethics in selflessness in society. Yes, in modern times, rise of social media. Rise of social media has led to the creation of an attention economy, where actions are done for, yes, YouTube likes or views, social media likes or views. The idea of self-love, only few people are buying that idea right now. You are watching too many podcasts on self-love. That is a self-love. The idea of self-love will end up with promotion of certain selfish interest, but more than that, it will be certain beauty product that will be sold. That because you deserve something, because you deserve it. So that those ideas are very capitalist ideas. You should have as many experiences as possible, not a socialist idea. It's all a capitalist idea, that you should have as many experiences as possible. So therefore try to increase the number of your life experiences. You should travel the world. All of these are capitalist ideas. Socialists, in the other hand, promotes jealousy, envy. Everybody's house should be same. There was a proper envy police in Russia, that if somebody was happier than you, you can report him to the police. Right? Socialism is like that rotating fan which rotates in all sides but does not give air. देखोगे ऐसा पंखा रहेगा घूम रहा है तीनों तरफ, लेकिन फैन उसका नहीं चल रहा है, लेकिन रोटेटर उसका चारों तरफ चल रहा है. Everybody is happy कि हवा तो उसे भी नहीं खुशी होती है थोड़ी सी, right? All right. So then we have selflessness. Then openness is there. Another value. Openness. What is openness? Openness means it is the quality of being. First is being transparent in decision making. In decision making is one aspect of openness, and the second is being accommodative. It is the quality of being accommodative to new ideas. Openness is the quality of being transparent in decision making and accommodating new ideas. So therefore, it is also from this flows accepting public scrutiny of work, accepting public scrutiny of work. This quality requires one to disclose all information. It means disclosing all information suo motu. Disclosing all information suo motu on one's own. All public information suo motu on one's own, and giving reasons. When there is a failure to, giving reasons when there is a failure to do so. Restricting information should be restricted. It entails that information should be restricted only when it concerns either national security or an individual's, yes, right to privacy. National security or individual's right to privacy. Write down a question. या फिर लिख लो ऐसे. Mahatma Gandhi's 7 social sins. Gandhi gave 7 social sins. What are they? First is wealth without work. Wealth without work. Knowledge without, what are the challenges of this? Can you think of what this gives rise to? For example, Ponzi scheme. Sometime in June 2023, an IT worker who's in the field of information technology, a female IT worker lost lakhs of rupees. Why? To an internet fraudster. She herself was working in what sector? IT sector. In this June itself, what was reported. अब शर्म भी आ रही थी कि रिपोर्ट करूं तो कंपनी में भी मजाक होगा. इसी सेक्टर में काम करते हो और ऐसे. How does it work? How does it work? Everybody knows? Different models. एक आध बताओ. कैसे करोगे? बचोगे कैसे? So what happens is, see, the weak link here is that when you are depositing money into a person's account, so that is when you can actually catch the person. So there are 1 or 2 ways how you can escape it. But these schemes, they are very, very sharp people. So what will happen is, for example, I may have called her up and said that you will get a job at XYZ company. And what may happen is that she will be very excited. So I'll ask probably what is her last drawn salary. Let's say she says it is 6 lakh or 8 lakh per annum. I'll offer her in the new job something very high, like 36 lakh per annum. Then what will happen is, she'll be asked to do a certain task. Now the minute somebody is getting that disproportionate salary, they will be immediately they will have a very high sense of loyalty to the company. because that is way beyond what they can ever make. So therefore now she is looking for next instructions from my side. And that is where a fraudster will technically make use of that information. So for example, and there is another senior citizen who's there, and what will happen is it will be said that I'm calling from the customs, certain, or if you are that knave, then there will be a mail that will be that you have won $1 million in prize money, or the princess of Uganda is wanting to escape and therefore she wants to give or share her wealth and you can take a commission. Now those, you will get a mail and you will close your doors and windows ki kisi aur koi mail aur na pad le that I'm becoming a multi-millionaire by the end of the day. You gotten a mail like that, so you start responding. Achha, when you read these mails, they are often written in a lot of wrong English. What do you think is the reason? They are from Uganda, they can't. ये भी ठीक है. हाँ बताओ. Yes. So what will happen is that it will not be written in a very persuasive language. The language will not be very persuasive because those mails are shot to millions of people across the world. Tens of millions of people are sent that email across the world. If it is very persuasive, then what will happen? A lot of people will start responding. So therefore, if it is written in very poor and wrong English, unrefined English, then one thing will definitely be there, that if somebody is responding, then he has probably never heard of the Nigerian scam before. Right? Otherwise, if it is very persuasive, then a lot of good people will start responding. And is it possible to respond to all mails? No. So therefore, they want only that 0.001% who has no idea of what is happening. So they will close their doors, windows, and they will talk to their family that Nigerian prince is saying that I want to get married to you and I will transfer 10 million British pounds before I escape from the civil war in my country. So now what will happen is you will start pursuing it. Achha. So now the whole game here is depositing the money. So in such a case, what will you do? Or what they will do? They know that the minute money depositing case is coming, and if you are doing it, paying not via cryptocurrency, then money depositing trail, it can easily be tracked down. So what will happen is, it will be said that this money can be transferred to your account. There are several ways, but one of it is, or it used to happen is, it will be transferred to your account. You just have to pay a small deposit of 4 lakh rupees or 80,000, some X amount of money you have to deposit. So that this money, these are the wiring charges for the 1 million British pounds that will be sent to, and via the RBI, it will be sent to your. Now what will happen is, you will think of it that the amount is sum of very high that you will not think of bargaining at first, that because the sum is so huge. So therefore, you will say that you can make a deposit in our local agent's account who will deposit in the RBI or something like that. Now what will happen is, you are always thinking from a very smart angle that, okay, it is an account. If something goes wrong, I will be able to catch him. You are having this assurance. You are not paying to a foreign account. You are paying to a, let's say, a regular State Bank of India account. You know that at least I can catch him. You are very happy about this fact also. Now when you deposit the money in that account, I call her up and saying that I have a very important task for you. She says, what? Just to test the integrity, whether you can do the job or not, we will today deposit some amount in your account. And that account, you have to withdraw it, the money, and you give it to X person at the airport or at the bus station or the metro station. Now the package that has been offered is so huge that in front of that package, that sum of money is very less. So what she will end up doing is, she will send in her bank details, and these bank details will be sent to this person who is the victim, and this person will make a deposit in her account, and she will withdraw and give it to the scamster. Now, when things will go bad, after she has lost lot of amount or lot of rupees, and here her confidence will keep increasing, that the minute the amount that is sent by the victim increases, like now you just need to pay last 10 lakh rupees, this towards the custom clearance or something like that. So she will be sent a mail that the company, on the basis of your loyalty and truthfulness, has revised your package to 90 lakh rupees per annum. This time we will send you amount of 10 lakh just to test the integrity, whether you can do the job or not. So now she's thinking that she may have at one point of time, she may think 10 lakh rupees are coming in my account. Why should I bother about getting the job? But then they'll increase the offer also. So now it is, she's thinking that ye to 10 lakh hi hai, I'll get a 90 lakh job. And anyway, generally people are law abiding. So the last time she will, and what will happen is, when she will file a case in the police, then the police will reach out to her तो पता चलेगा दोनों लोग के साथ स्कैम हो रखा है, right? So that is one way. And there is social validation also. So therefore, wealth without work, Ponzi schemes or pyramid schemes that offer unrealistic returns. 20 दिन में पैसा दुगना बाबू भैया. So wealth without work. Some people, yes, one criticism of universal basic income is, I have not put that, but one criticism, a weak criticism of universal basic income is that it amounts to a social sin. Mahatma Gandhi would have said that it is social sin, wealth without work. Universal basic income is seen as a, why are governments, is it a socialist move, a universal basic income? It is a capitalist move. It is. Yes, that is why I have said that it is a weak argument. There are criticisms to it. The government is today saying that we don't need the citizens. If you just compare it to early 20th century, we needed people to do what? To do work, raise industries, and a lot of, to stimulate the economy. Today we need only people for only one thing, that is voting. We will not be able to give you jobs because there are enough number of machines and just too many people. So that is a universal basic income is proposed as a solution. That let people do what they like. We'll give them enough income so that they can sustain themselves. But क्या नहीं दे पाएंगे? नौकरियां नहीं दे पाएंगे. Because most of it will be reduced because of machine and then artificial intelligence. So that is then knowledge without character. Another social sin. Can you think of some problems? We have done that before. For example, people who are indulging in insider trading. Rajat Gupta or even the Satyam case. On people who doctors and lawyers, knowledge without character, when they do what? Defend, okay, कह सकते हो, ठीक है. You can also talk about knowledge without character when we talk about Osama bin Laden. Yes. Then there are people, hackers, unethical hackers. Pleasure without conscience. For example, the problem of consumerism in our society, that people want to consume without consent. For the problem of environmental degradation is because of this problem. Why is environmental degrading? Because we want to convenience without thinking what will be the consequences of such a convenience. Environmental degradation, pollution, all sorts of pollution, a loss of biodiversity. Climate change, global warming, all that you can put here. What else? Politics without principles. Think of some modern problems. Politics without principles. Horse trading. Vote bank politics. Sectarian politics. Communal violence. Politics that promotes communal violence. Frequent defection. The problem of Ayaram, Gayaram. Frequent defection. Then criminalization of politics. Criminalization of politics. Freebies is a debatable issue. Again, it is a weak argument. Some people argue that the freebies culture in politics is unethical because votes are brought constitutes freebies are very debatable. That is why I have not put freebie here, but you can put it there. All right. Then science without humanity. Nuclear attacks. Cluster bombs. Arms race. You could say uninformed clinical trials. Patent evergreening. Biopiracy. Etc. Gas chambers during Holocaust. Isn't it? Gas chambers during Holocaust. What else? When you get something science versus humanity, in any of them, when two things are there and both of them are important, then we can always use the two tools I have taught you. The blind man and the lame man, or the two wheels of a. What we need is not just science versus humanity. We need both science as well as humanity. Commerce without morality. For example, monopolistic practices. Tax evasion. Crony capitalism. Can talk about Bhopal gas tragedy also, when companies are not willing to own up for their mistakes. Use of child labor, not paying minimum wages, greenwashing. We have done this greenwashing once. एक दो line में. Everybody knows what is greenwashing. We have done in business ethics, business we have done it. Then, अच्छा, इसको otherwise नहीं लेना है. गांधी जी ने जो बोला है, worship without, उसको ये मत समझना कि अब काली माँ का पूजा है तो बकरे का बलिदान जरूर. Don't take it like that. What sacrifice he is talking? Not sacrifice of some animal which is to be consumed later. Yes. Sacrificing our ego, our anger, etc. Or what we have. Sacrificing our ego, our anger, our vices. This leads to the problem of ritualism without spiritual upliftment. Promotes superstition. Etc. Communal violences in worship without sacrifice. Yes, you can put that. Then let us do neutrality. What is neutrality? Yes, neutrality flows from non-partisanship, which is why I made you that flow chart. Non-partisanship means not aligned with any political party or any political ideology. So that is what neutrality is partisanship is about. Neutrality flows from non-partisan behavior. All right. So what is neutrality? Neutral. इसको लिख लेते हैं. Write down a question. What do you understand by? What do you understand by neutrality? What are the challenges in civil service? Neutrality. What are the challenges in civil service? Neutrality. See, neutrality means two things. One is program neutrality, the other is political neutrality. One is program neutrality, the other is political neutrality. Program neutrality entails or means, program neutrality means that a civil servant must give bias-free, professional inputs to the minister in formulation of government programs and policies. In formulation of government programs and policies. However, once a program is adopted, by the government, the civil servant, once a program is adopted by the government, the civil servant must implement it irrespective of his personal opinion or biases. Political neutrality means that political neutrality means that civil servant must aid and advise the political executive objectively must aid and advise the political executive objectively irrespective of his own political ideology. Irrespective of his own political ideology. Irrespective of his own political ideology. Thakur, coffee de dena thoda. Coffee. On political ideology. It is expected that the minister assume ministerial responsibility. It is expected that the minister assume ministerial responsibility for any acts of omission and commission by the department. Must accept ministerial responsibility for any acts of commission and omission by the department. The civil service, on the other hand, must hide behind the veil of anonymity. Insulated from public criticism. Must hide behind the veil of anonymity, insulated from public criticism. Neutrality is important because significance of neutrality. Neutrality is important because first, there is public confidence in the non-political character of bureaucracy. Public confidence in the non-political character of bureaucracy. Second, confidence of ministers in the loyalty of civil servants, in the loyalty and professionalism of civil servants. Ministers in the loyalty and professionalism of civil servants. Third, high morale of civil servants based on confidence that promotion and rewards would be based on merit and performance and not political considerations. Would be based on merit and performance and not political considerations. See, civil service neutrality simply means that the civil servants will remain objective, he will remain neutral, and he will remain non-partisan in his behavior, in his outlook. A civil servant is expected to have a political ideology of his own, but when he has to guide the minister. It is expected that he will give an objective and professional advice to the minister. Neutrality in civil service is extremely important. Why it is important? Neutrality flows from non-partisanship. So there are two kinds of neutralities. One is a program neutrality. You may, for example, feel that Manrega is not needed and you think that it is a wastage of taxpayers' money. But what is expected under the principle of program neutrality? It says that once you are supposed to express your views, and that is a part of your integrity, that you say that I do not think that this scheme is needed and it is a wastage of taxpayers' money. But what is expected? That this discussion should happen within the confines of the cabinet, within the confines of the minister's chamber, where you're supposed to give your input. Once a program has been decided, then what is expected? Irrespective of your personal opinion, irrespective of what you think, irrespective of your ideology, you are supposed to promote the government program with full josh, isn't it? Without letting your own beliefs come in their way. Not an easy task, right? Sometimes you will completely have even several committees, right? From Vora committee to National Commission to review the working of constitution. They say that district administration is too burdened, implementing so many government schemes. And sometimes those schemes are not needed also. And therefore it's not. And second is political neutrality, which means that the minister-civil servant relationship is based on two principles. One is the principle of anonymity. The principle of anonymity. This principle says that the civil servant will be insulated from public criticism of any departmental failure because of any act of omission or commission. So therefore, ek line likh lo. The civil servant is expected to be, under the principle of anonymity, the civil servant is expected to be like the fourth lion of the lion capital. Civil servant is expected to be anonymous, like the fourth lion of the lion capital, in bracket Ashok Stambha. Fourth lion of the lion capital. Invisible from the public eye. Invisible from the public eye. Dikhta nahi hai wo sher. Invisible from the public eye. And yet continuously striving to uphold public interest. Continuously striving to uphold public interest. That is the principle of anonymity. Continuously striving to uphold public interest. लगातार काम कर रहा है public interest के लिए. That is what the bureaucracy is. And the other is ministerial responsibility. That for any acts of commission and omission, who is responsible? The minister is responsible. And therefore, for any acts of commission, the criticism will happen of whom? The government of the day and to the minister and not to the civil servant. Why is this needed? This is needed so that the civil servant can work without any sort of criticism. In peace. So therefore, why is this needed? This is needed so that he can make decisions which are needed, which are difficult, which may not be popular, but are difficult. If you are continuously under public pressure, then what will happen? You will end up taking popular decisions which are not good in the long term, isn't it? Which are not good in the long term. So therefore, and it is important. What is the significance of this neutrality? It is important because once you know that the civil service in this country is apolitical, the civil service in this country is apolitical, then you know that whoever is the political master, they don't need to change the civil service. Think of it, a party has come to power and it has a doubt on the apolitical character of the civil service. And what will be the first step? Any political party will come to power, will end up doing massive transfers, even suspensions if needed, depending on how much doubt they have on the political character of the bureaucracy. But you see, in our country, there is a fair faith in the character of the bureaucracy that they are political chameleons. They'll change color as per the... You will see that suddenly the police, you look at UP police right now, they'll become lions. They will be willing to take on anyone. These days, you will be seeing that even at the Thana level, they will not be afraid of forget criminals. They will not be afraid of taking on public representatives, including MLAs and MPs who have criminal antecedents. Why? Because it is they are supposed to be political chameleons. They take the color of the government in power, and suddenly the government will change. Now you will see that no small criminal will be called to the Thana. He will be given tea and coffee. Aaram kari biscuit diya ja raha hai. Why? It will change. It will change with the complete change in the political character of the political ruling class. So that is what is the expectation. Why is this system in a democracy such? It is such because it is expected that when people are not happy, they will change home. They have no power over the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy has a fixed and secure tenure. They only have power over the political class. If a bureaucracy has a mind of its own, then there is a problem, right? Because then there is all of you will assume that bureaucracy has a good mind, but that will not happen. The bureaucrat does not have to worry about almost anything. The politician has to. He has to worry about what will happen after 5 years, right? So therefore, he is continuously worried. A civil servant does have, in effect, a very good sarkari naukri. He is not worried about the kal kya hoga. That a civil servant is never worried. Everybody in the country may be worried. But that's the one beauty of government jobs. That is not one worry that you may have, that what will happen in the... No, it's not about the future. It's about present. कि अभी आज ये करूँगा तो दिक्कत होगी. But their future, you do anything else. You become a coder in IT sector. More worried that you are knowing Python and the language you are making website and people are now demanding apps and you are not acquiring those skills. Right? You are working in TCS and Java and after 5 years, you think that nobody will hire you. Only TCS is working. You do any other thing, you don't know what will happen after 5 years. Isn't it? And this is important because there is public confidence in the apolitical character of bureaucracy. It also is important for the ministers or the political class to have faith in their nature, because then they do not have to change anyone. And it is also good for the bureaucracy because they know that if the political class is assured of our non-political character, then any promotion, any reward, it will be based on what? It will be based on our performance. It will be based on our it will be based on our performance, not based on our political affiliation. All these things. Then write down challenges to civil service neutrality. Challenges to civil service neutrality. Traditional concept of civil service neutrality. Traditional concept of civil service neutrality is based on politics administration dichotomy. Is based on politics administration dichotomy. What is the politics administration dichotomy? Everyone knows. Politics administration dichotomy is a theory in public administration or earlier in political science, according to which politics goal is to make the policy and administration's goal is to implement the policy. That is simple politics administration. Policy making is whose job? Politician's job. Policy implementation is whose job? Administration's job. So it is basically the notion of civil service neutrality is based on the politics administration dichotomy. But today, policy formulation is a persuasive and cooperative endeavor. Is persuasive and cooperative endeavor. Neutrality under these circumstances promotes inertia and status quo. आपको neutral रहना है. Neutrality under such circumstances promotes inertia and status quo. Next, neutral value-free bureaucracy. Neutral value-free bureaucracy. That हमारा पास कोई दिमाग नहीं है. Everything is neutral value-free bureaucracy. Neutral value-free bureaucracy. That they don't have values of their own. This value-free bureaucracy may be possible in a society. May be possible in a society where consensus exists on common values. Neutral value-free bureaucracy may be possible in a society where consensus exists on common values. But transitional societies where there is dissent or disagreement. Transitional society जिसमें बहुत सारे changes हो रहे हैं. Transitional societies where there is dissent, conflict and divergence. There is dissent, conflict and divergence. even on common values. Dissent, conflict, and divergence, even on common values. Neutrality is difficult to achieve. Next. CS neutrality, CSN, CS neutrality is a myth because civil service neutrality is a myth because top civil servants are closely associated with the political class. Top civil servants are closely associated with the political class and deeply involved in making political decisions. In reality, the civil servants are protected from accountability. In reality, civil servants are protected from accountability to the public under the garb of anonymity and neutrality. कि भाई आप anonymous और neutral हैं. Civil servants are protected from accountability to the public under the garb. मतलब इसके बहाने. Garb of anonymity and neutrality. Next. Neutrality in public office amounts to moral corruption. Neutrality in public office amounts to moral corruption. If all governments are to be treated with equal zeal, if all governments are to be served with equal zeal, then there are no moral grounds to criticize German officials who served under Hitler. And committed the Holocaust. Okay. Some suggestions for civil service neutrality. Keeping civil service further neutral. Again, it is all a part of civil services reforms. If you want civil services neutrality, then again the same thing, fixed tenure or security of tenure, transfers and promotions through a civil service board, recommendation of every committee, including the second ARC, legal protection to civil servants from political vendetta, strengthening of civil service associations. Yes. Grievance redressal mechanism. Or strong grievance redressal mechanism against political class. Then adequate whistleblower protection. Adequate Whistleblower protection. Then code of ethics. Code of ethics to supplement the existing code of conduct. Kautilya's Arthashastra, for example, suggested, Kautilya in Arthashastra said that there must be swift promotion for efficient officials and severe punishment for corrupt. Swift promotion for efficient officials and severe punishment for corrupt. Probity in governance. And for this, we'll begin with good governance and all. Probity in governance. So probity, if you see probity in governance, it amounts to what is called Satyanishtha. Satyanishtha. Adhering to the highest moral principles. Adhering to, sticking to highest moral principles. It includes uprightness, that you have to be upright. It includes honesty, integrity, and rectitude. Rectitude. Rectitude also means righteousness, following the dharma. See, probity entails few things. That one must not only be honest. One must not only be honest. Few things. One is, one must not only be honest, but also seen to be honest. Which means that a civil servant, like Caesar's wife, must be beyond suspicion. That a civil servant, like Caesar's wife, must be beyond suspicion. There should not even be implication of dishonesty. And second, probity entails second thing, that they not only should be personally honest, not personally honest is not enough. They should not only be personally honest, but they should also act against dishonesty. This was the debate during Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's tenure. When Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was, so there were allegations against his ministers that where is probity in public life? In your tenure, we have had the Commonwealth Games scam. In your tenure, we have had the 2G scam. And therefore, at one point of time, which was not generally the case, the parliamentary debate were dignified and nobody pointed fingers at the Prime Minister himself. But at some point of time during this political discourse going on in the country, you are aware that around 2009-10 period, there was India Against Corruption movement, where tens of thousands of people had assembled in the Ramlila grounds in New Delhi, protesting against corruption in high offices, protesting against corruption in the corridors of power. And at some point of time, the political discourse got so heated in the country that they pointed towards corruption in the highest office in the country, that is the Prime Minister himself. So that is when he came out and he said the statement that you have to understand, he addressed the parliament and he said that I have been in this parliament for decades now and nobody has questioned my integrity. And therefore, like Caesar's wife, at least I must be beyond suspicion. There was also the time when there was a demand for a Lokpal, which would also include the office of the Prime Minister. What was the problem with that? In the country, at least you have to leave 1 or 2 people whom you will not treat as a suspect unless they have done something. Think of a Lokpal who has the power to ask questions to the Prime Minister. Will a Prime Minister be able to function? At least somewhere you have to accept that, okay, everybody is corrupt and therefore they should be under the purview of the Lokpal. And at some people you have to exempt that, okay, we have to assume that they are the highest office occupiers. They are honest unless they have done something. Right? So this was the debate. So at that time the debate said that the Prime Minister should also be. So the fear was that if we have a Lokpal, then it becomes a super Prime Minister. Any authority in the country who can ask questions to the Prime Minister of the country, that becomes a super Prime Minister. That was the challenge. Right? So therefore that is the time when this debate came that in probity in governance entails that not only should you be honest, but should be seen to be honest. But more than that, personal honesty is not enough. You must also act against the dishonest. The Prime Minister claimed that you should not point fingers at me because in this August Parliament, everybody knows that I have been honest throughout my political career. The people in my political party also know, and the people in the opposition also know this. So you cannot point fingers at the highest office. So that is when this idea came that personal honesty is not enough. You have to also act against the dishonest. Probity in governance entails this. So therefore it is not just passive honesty. It is not passive honesty. Not just personalness, but also act against dishonesty. And from this, we will move to the topic of good governance and corruption. We'll take it in the next class. All right. So one of these days, we will have a test. When should we have the test? On Sunday? Saturday, we'll have a class. Saturday we have? No, for this batch, just a 5 or 7 questions test. First half Sunday, all right. Or in the next class, we can give it to us as an assignment and you can submit all of you in the next 48 hours. So make sure that you revise everything that we have studied till today's class. And then we'll solve an assignment and we'll see all the questions. Then we'll also be able to see what is learning outcomes will be tested. Chalo, that is all for today's class. Thank you.